I completely forgot about this witness. And I can't believe I forgot about this witness because, like the others that were pertinent to the information that they gave to the court, she was the most pertinent because not only was she, I believe, 9 or 10 years old around this time, that she witnessed it. She's seen it for, herself. So this is the unnamed juvenile that in another video I did, I called her Mary. So I guess I'll continue to call her Mary. And no, this is not a picture of the juvenile in question at all. I had to continue saying that when I discussed this several months ago. I would never use, a juvenile's picture that were already being victimized by other people. Adults were coming to her page. We'll get into that in a minute. So on the court stand, she would say that the defendant, I guess, Jarvis Butts, had offered to take her and Naziah to the store, but instead he went to his auto body shop. And in that auto body shop, I guess she was in another part of the shop area. And when she came into the room, she witnessed Jarvis Butts with his entire clothes off. And on the ground, he was sitting on a chair. And Naziah had just her pants off, her underwear off. And they were on the floor. And she was on his lap. This would happen for another time. Now, by the third time, when she seen her big cousin, engaging in sex with Jarvis Butts, he then propositioned her and, told her to come and, to join them. And she said no. And she wanted to go home. Now, that's pretty much all the testimony that they gave the public. I'm pretty sure it's a lot that they kept for trial, but that's what they gave to public. And now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more clearer, you guys, I hope that this wasn't supposed to be the threesome. Remember in those text messages, the threesome? I hope this was not supposed to be the threesome. Oh my goodness. Because it seemed like it continued 3 more times with this same young girl. Now, this little girl is the daughter of Marquita and another man that did go on social media. He was blasting everybody, and rightfully so, because adults were coming to his daughter's page, not children. But adults was coming to her page and calling her names like ugly and pretty much, I believe, upset that she testified against JB. And the thing is, a lot of people probably didn't even know JB, just sick and twisted minded and using this opportunity to target a child already, going through something because what this man did and what she's seen this man doing to her cousin, and now her cousin is missing. So they go to her page and they target her, which was utterly repulsive, disgusting. Now, what I really need to say is this little girl, she had to. I'm assuming, okay? And I know I shouldn't assume, all children would be like myself if I was 9 and that happened to me, and thank goodness it didn't. But I'm just going to assume that she didn't tell her mom anything, or her dad anything. Like she kept it to herself. Maybe Naziah said, please don't tell, I'm going to get in trouble. So she kept it to herself, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But as for JB, like, you're in a situation where you honestly don't give a damn. Like, you are SAing these minors and you don't care who's going to come and knock at your door. It's unbelievable. But I guess he feels that he could never be stopped because this has happened so much. This has happened for over 20 years of him involving himself with underaged, girls, and his SAing even people that were legal. Him victimizing females. He's been doing this for such a long time. I guess he just didn't think he could be touched. Or sometimes people know that one day they are going to be touched. So let's just, every time I get an opportunity to continue breaking the law and being, a pedo, and, I'm using my deviant sexual behavior, let me just keep doing this because I know one day I will get busted. So I'm just going to do it, do it, do it. And it seems that's what he did. This is your children's biological aunt too. And you are trying to entice this 10-year-old to perform these acts with you and her cousin because she sees her cousin doing it. And we know that these children kind of looked up to Neziah. We know that because I think she was like a little bit older than them by like a year and a half. Remember back in the day when you were like a year and a half older than somebody, you felt like you were 20 years older than them, right? So they probably did look up to her in a sense. But I'm glad this little girl said no. No, no, never. And JB just had the balls, like he knew she wasn't going to say anything. But you know what? On a flip side, maybe as soon as they got back to Shannon's house, Shannon and Annette's house, maybe when she got back there, she could have said, oh, Jarvis tried to do such and such, and she could have said it all. But we know that family likes to, hide everything and keep secrets. And maybe the punishment was, well, you know what? If that's what happened, then you know what? You don't need to go to the store next time. If that's what happened. They'll do some shit like that. The situation where they were supposed to be going to the store, but instead they end up in the auto body shop. And we do have to remember there is a store connected to the auto body shop. So, but maybe, okay, so since you're down there and you're saying that he tried to get you to have sex with him while he's having sex with Neziah, then you know what? You don't need to go to the store next time. People will say some silly shit like that. They will. But this is one of the girls the juveniles that testified. And I just wanted to get that out. This was one. And again, it wasn't that much information on her testimony because they just didn't put that much out there. I know that there were some women in there that ended up crying during her testimony, and some was so sickened by what she was saying that they had to leave the courtroom. They didn't say which women left the courtroom, but they had to leave the courtroom. I'm pretty sure, well, I'm guessing, I hate having to guess and assume, but I'm thinking that her mother had to be there, right? I'm thinking that Marquita had to be there when her daughter's on the stand. Maybe even this little girl's father was there when his daughter was on the stand. So Marquita heard that this has happened. I'm not trying to say that she's backing Jarvis, but from what I've seen, she really hasn't really given any emotion or said anything about what's going on. But then again, why should she? She probably doesn't want to be involved too much, even though she is already involved. This trial coming up is going to be something. It's going to really be something. I'm hoping that it stays televised, and I'm hoping we're able to get full coverage on it. I really am. I don't know if it's going to start in October. I think that is really cutting it with all the witnesses that they had, all the witnesses for the, it's a lot of witnesses that they had. I last was reading about, I did a video about that as well. But we're going to hear so much. We're going to hear so much. We're going to see so much. And we know, right? We know that Jarvis is not getting out. We know that. But I am just wondering, before then or during the trial, are we going to ever find out what truly happened to this little girl? Because, when you think about the situation, like sometimes I'm like, no, she's totally deceased. She's not with us. But where is she? Where's the body? Because remember what I said the last time we discussed this. If she is alive, that means she was, given to somebody that can continue trafficking her. And her child, if her child is, alive, that they'll traffic her. That little girl can be 4 or 5 years old and she can be being SA'd by grown men, because that's how that world kicks it. That's a totally different world than the world that we know. It's a totally different world. It's disgusting. It's grimy. There's so many, undocumented kids out there, children that are born, between a John and a woman of the night, and a baby is born, and that baby's not documented. Doesn't have a birth certificate, nothing. That baby is just going to be born to do what that baby, was told to do. So sick, so horrible. So sometimes you wish that she is now resting in peace than what she possibly could be subjected to, Naziah, for her life, for the rest of her life, how long that would be, because street life is a very hard life. So sometimes I do hope, like, please let this child, let her body be found. Sometimes I do say that to myself. The one thing that JB cannot lie and say he didn't do was SA her repeatedly, continuously. And I don't mean to sound really grimy and disgusting, but maybe he even removed the fetus in case she was found, so that it can't be, ID'd back to him. So much stuff goes through my mind. I apologize, but it does. It does. I look at a lot of, true crime horror stories, and this one really is. It's bad because we don't know what happened to this little girl in the end. We know all the main people before her, and we know that they all played a part in the reason why she is missing now. But we don't know, towards the end of her life, it may have been very painful. It may have been very tragic. The one person, and that points back to JB, because she knew her aunts and her grandmother. She knew her family wasn't shit. But the one person that it points back to is JB. The one person that she said she loved. You guys heard those texts. She said, I love you. And the one person that was supposed to love her back may have been the person that ended her life. So I've done it, and I'm pretty sure many of you that's listening to this right now have done it too, where we're hoping maybe he gave her that antifreeze, since he was Googling, stuff to get rid of this fetus. Maybe he gave her antifreeze. And maybe that is how she ended up passing away, because it's antifreeze, And maybe after she passed, he panicked and, discarded her body. That's the nice way of putting it. Hopefully he didn't just take her somewhere and just do other things to her. That's what we're hoping, but very sad. But yeah, I didn't want to forget about this one right here. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry if I'm a little loud. I'm using my outside voice because I am outside. Enjoy your Friday and just be safe. And I will see you soon.